Hello again, vinyl community. Matt here, and today I have a sort of a haul video, which is a little bit of an understatement. So, my good friend Gregory Short, check out his channel. He stopped by my house this morning, and in fact for a few hours, we spent several hours together, and he brought a big box of cassettes that he was sort of letting me have first look at. I think he might be giving some of them away as VCLT, he said, but it's let's just say it's probably probably the best tape haul, and I don't mean to be disrespectful by referring to it as a whole, but that I've had. Just really incredible, not only for just the quantity of tapes that he gave me, but the quality of them as well. It's kind of incredible. I mean, if you were to find these tapes in a thrift store, you would think it was like, you know, the cassette find of the year. Seriously, that's how good it is. So so thank you, Greg, in advance. I know you guys haven't seen the tapes yet, but believe me, you're gonna, I think, be pretty impressed. But we're gonna do that last, because I think that's kind of the best part of this video. We're gonna start out with some vinyl. So don't worry, I know I've been doing a lot of tape videos recently, but we do have some vinyl to look at. We have some CDs to look at. So I also, another friend of mine stopped by this afternoon. And in fact, Greg was still here, so they got to meet each other. That was kind of cool. And my other friend has a turntable. He's into records and so on, into music. So we went to Savers thrift store and the Mad Platter record store here in Riverside. So let's start off with the records from Mad Platter. So you guys know this is all this is all a pretty eclectic mix, by the way, of stuff. You guys know me; I like a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna be straight up. Some of it's pretty cheesy, and so fair warning's been given. But let's start off with the cheesy stuff, kind of. So I actually found two Kylie Minogue 12-inch singles. The first one is The Locomotion, and the second one is Je ne sais pas pourquoi. How do you like my French? Which actually translates to I Still Love You. They very helpfully give the translation on the record. So I just couldn't let them sit there. I have her debut album on vinyl, which contains both of these versions, albeit the album versions of those, of course, whereas these have the single mixes, I think, on both, and they have, you know, 12-inch mixes and other mixes on them. So it's quite unusual, in my opinion, to find Kylie Minogue in the US. She was not that popular here, nowhere near as popular as she was in like the UK and, of course, her native Australia. So yeah, apparently these have both been sitting there since October, and I would have liked to have thought I've noticed them before now, but I hadn't. Yeah, I just, like, you know, for $2 each, I had to take them. You guys know I like my 80s pop music. Speaking of 80s pop, speaking of a little bit cheesy, this is Phil Collins' Groovy Kind of Love. This is a promo copy. I like the song. I'm going to admit it. I'm not ashamed of it. I like his version of it. I think it's originally by the Mindbenders, I think, in the 60s. But yeah, so this has the LP version on it. Well, it says LP version for both, so actually maybe that's just all it is. It is a promo after all. Yeah, I just couldn't leave it there. Simple as that. It's an 80s song. I like Phil Collins. I like the song. Why not? Now I'm gonna sort of go back in time by about 5 days here. So last Monday I also stopped at a record store on my way home from work. I just picked up 3 records, and that was it. And but yeah, I couldn't pass these up. I really couldn't. So this first one was $3, 12-inch single. KLF 3 AM Eternal. Oh, there we go. That's a bit better. Sorry, there's a little bit of a glare right there, but this is an early 90s sort of house club classic. I guess it's house music, technically. Kind of. I don't know what you would class it as. I always thought of it as house music. But yeah, this is just a legendary song by the KLF. So that's actually now my second 12-inch single of theirs that I have. I have America, What Time Is Love as well. I also picked up the 12-inch single, and I think this was $1. Maybe it was $3, but anyway. Milli Vanilli, Baby Don't Forget My Number. Actually, I think it was $3. And I like Milli Vanilli, you know, the whole Grammy Award lip syncing thing, that was unfortunate, but they were good. They really were. They were good. It was good stuff back then. And then I picked up one LP as well from the record store, and that was Creedence Clearwater Revival, Cosmo's Factory. I wanted this purely for Long As I Can See the Light. That's a great track. But I've had my eye out for this album for a while, but actually just because of that song. And I saw it, it was $5, it's in good condition. A little bit of ring wear at the top, but the record's in very nice condition indeed. And that was, you know, a few little scuffs, but nothing major. So for $5, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get it. So that was all the vinyl. My friend and I also went to Savers thrift store, and I got some CDs. You guys are going to think this is a really eclectic mix. I warned you before, and now it's really going to get kind of out there. But at least for me, you know, a lot of different genres and maybe one or two things you wouldn't expect from me. But okay, first up we have Oasis, Don't Believe the Truth. I do already have this on vinyl, courtesy of the very generous Rob from New York. Robert NY Guy is his username. But yeah, I couldn't pass it up on CD for $2, just sitting there. I really couldn't. And, you know, sometimes it's nice. You know, I prefer to listen to the vinyl, for sure. But sometimes it's nice if you're, like, headed out or you're going to work or whatever, you want to grab a couple of CDs. Well, you know, it's a bit difficult to play a record in the car. So it's nice to have the option to grab the CD if I want to. And then when I'm home, I can listen to the record. But I have the first 3 albums on CD, so this is kind of just adding to that collection. Next up, we're going way sort of into left field territory here. You guys probably won't see this coming. You're definitely not going to see the one after this coming. But Dances with Wolves soundtrack by John Barry. I always liked the title song, the John Dunbar theme. Actually, I guess it's not the title track, but the John Dunbar theme, which is the main theme song to the movie. I always liked it. $2. Yeah, I'll get it. I don't remember what the rest of the songs are like from the album. I haven't seen the movie for years, but I always remember I liked that song. So, yeah. Okay. Brace yourselves. In my defense, this was still sealed, okay? So, that you know. Spice Girls, self-titled debut album. You know, I'm not a massive fan of theirs, but I do like the song Say You'll Be There, and I'm going to put my hands up and admit I like To Become One. And I do not have it on any format, and it is on this album. So, you know, again, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm not a huge fan of the Spice Girls, but it was still in the shrink for $2. You know, it is a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit of an iconic 90s pop album. It is. So, yeah. What the hell? Okay, next up, I was really pleased to find this nice little lot of 4 jazz CDs. These were previously sold somewhere else for like $7 a piece because they've still got the price tags on. And I wanted to make sure that these weren't Savers price tags. So I kind of, you know, I said to the guy when I was checking out, you know, these are like $2, right? And he said, yeah. So we start with John Coltrane, Best of the Bethlehem Sessions. See, I'm not a big jazz guy. I'm really not. But some things you don't pass up. And like at this same Savers thrift store, that's where I found the steel sealed Miles Davis Kind of Blue. Steel sealed CD. If it had been a record, that, you know, would be a different conversation. But yeah, so at some point, this was used for $7. You can kind of see it right there. If it's going to focus, yeah, maybe not. But yeah, $2 from Savers. Miles Davis, Birth of the Cool. This was also, again, should have been like $7. At least it was at some point. Miles Davis, Aura. Yeah. And Miles Davis, Love Songs. I just thought, you know, for a couple of bucks each, and it's a good way for me to try to get into jazz a little bit more, because so many people are into it, and it's not that I don't appreciate the artistry. I just it's not what I grew up with, and so it's something that I've always found less accessible for me than other types of music. But you know, I'm assuming that those are a pretty good introduction. I have listened to the Kind of Blues CD. I did like it. It was just no, I did like it. I did. I shouldn't say but. Yeah, it was good. It's just that's sort of, and that's probably a decent introduction. But I'm hoping this will be a further introduction into that genre. So, all right. Now we're getting into the good stuff, the serious stuff. This is all everything that Greg gave me. Before I show you that, he actually did bring me this mini disc. There's a little bit of a story behind this. So I had a mini disc deck that I was not using, so I had asked if he wanted it, and so he now has that set up at home, which is cool. And we're sort of doing this little thing now where we have this mini disc here. It's going to be passed back and forth between the two of us, and the idea is that we'll just record songs on it that either we think the other person will like, or maybe songs that we think they're not familiar with, that they haven't heard before. And I think literally there was only one, no, maybe 2 or 3 songs in here that I knew. Greg and I played it when he was here. We put it on, and the rest of them, you know, however many tracks it was, like 17 tracks, whatever, I was not familiar with. So it's very cool to be able to try out new music. And Greg said the same sort of thing when I gave the disc to him. I put stuff on it that I kind of thought he would like, but also that I hoped he hadn't heard of. And he said that, yeah, most of them, he knew a few of them, but most of the tracks he didn't know. So that's kind of the idea of it. And he recorded, I don't know if he recorded the whole thing to tape, but he said he at least put some of the songs to tape. So I will probably do the same thing. I need to give it another listen, like a more thorough listen. So I'll probably take it to work and play it on my portable mini disc player. That you know, that's a good way to kind of isolate myself and give it a little more attention that it deserves. We did play it, as I mentioned, when he was here, but my daughter was here as well. We were talking. It's hard to, like I said, hard to give it the attention fully that it deserves. So that yeah. So thanks, Greg. I will be giving that a listen next week when I'm at work. Well, maybe before that. Who knows? We'll see. Okay, let's get into the cassettes. Greg gave me that as well. Tapehead City. That's pretty cool. It's a sticker. I've got to find something to stick that on. Excuse me. Like I said, this is an amazing collection of tapes. I was like blown away by Greg's generosity, and like I said, not just the sheer number of tapes that he came offering, but the quality of them as well. I mean, this is pretty good stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Let's start out. And there's quite a few tapes to go through. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 5 piles of 9, so 45 cassettes. So bear with me, okay? We're going to do this as quickly as possible. Rolling Stones, Voodoo Lounge. Very cool. Very cool. I do know the song Love Is Strong. I'm going to be honest, that might be the only song on here I know. That could be. It could be the only. This is from like 94, I think, right? Is that right? Yeah, 94. Anyway, I always love the cover of this one too. Okay. Next up we have Genesis, 3 Sides Live. I've heard good things about this album. Never listened to it. I don't have it on vinyl. A few of these cassettes I do have on other formats, but I just couldn't turn them down. I couldn't, because I like the albums, you know. Let's see. When is this from? 82. Let's see how many songs of these I know, because you know I like Genesis, but I'm not super into their earlier stuff. So let's see. Turn It On Again, I know. Okay, Abacab. Follow You, Follow Me. That's a classic. That's it. I don't think I know the others. Gonna admit it. It might be that I play it and then I recognize a couple of them. You know how that goes. But yeah, that's going to be exciting to try that out. Next up, Talking Heads, True Stories. This is awesome. Yeah. I don't have any Talking Heads. I really don't. But I wanted to. I found records in the wild before. I found a record recently in Goodwill. I just wasn't prepared to pay the $9 that Goodwill wanted for it. So I'm very excited to try that. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Let Me Up, I Have Had Enough. This is from, 90 something, I think, isn't it? Or is it late 80s? This is from, 87. 87, okay. So yeah, I couldn't. I'm not familiar with the album. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not even sure how many of these songs I know, but it's Tom Petty. Again, I was gonna say no to it. Next, Bob Dylan, Blood on the Tracks. A little bit of an iconic album right there. But one I don't have. I've never owned it, so I'm really not that familiar. I do know the song Shelter from the Storm. Maybe I know Tangled Up in Blue as well, but I don't know most of the tracks on here. Again, it could be one of those deals where I play it and I recognize a few more, but yeah. We have another Tom Petty album, Hard Promises. And again, I'm sorry about the delay that keeps happening. I'm trying to avoid it, but again, I don't know if I know any of the songs on here. Let's see. Not at first glance, I don't. I will admit I don't, but I do. I like Tom Petty, the little that I've been exposed to. I'm not familiar enough to kind of, you can tell I'm not familiar enough to be able to identify too many of his songs. But yeah, that's still very cool. Couldn't pass that up. Next up, the best of the Grateful Dead. I do have a Grateful Dead sort of best of record, Skeletons in the Closet, is that it? Something like that. It does have Truckin' on here, which I know, so that's good. I don't know how many of the others I know. They're a band I never got into, not because I didn't want to or because I disliked them. I just haven't been exposed to them. Their records are expensive to start with, so it's sort of, they always seem to be kind of pricey. So this, I'm thinking is going to be a good way. Again, I can kind of take this to work. I have a Walkman that Greg also gave me. Not today. It was a couple of weeks ago. It was a sort of a belated Christmas gift. That's we did our little gift exchange. So I can take the Walkman, and I have been taking it to work. I can listen to it. Yeah. Next up, 80s classic, Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. I do have it on vinyl. I'm not leaving it on cassette. I'm not going to leave that there. Sorry. I love this album. This is a great album. I love a lot of the tracks on this album. Obviously, I mean, this is easily the most well-known album. We Shout, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Mother's Talk, I Believe, Head Over Heels. It's just a great album. And now we come to the last cassette in the first pile. Aerosmith Rocks. Don't have the album. I know of it, but don't have it. It does have... it has a few songs I know. It has Back in the Saddle, Last Child. Okay. So, yeah. Really cool. Really cool. Okay. Pile number 2. Matchbox 20, Yourself or Someone Like You. This is now the third format that I have this on. I have it on CD and vinyl. Now I have it on, because this is a great album. I love this album. It's one of my favorite albums of the 90s. It's got so many great tracks. There's not a bad track on it, actually. Yeah, there's really not. The whole album is just, it's just great. So, yeah. Another Grateful Dead album, Without a Net. Grateful Dead, Without a Net. Camera's going to focus, is it? Kind of. I will be pretty confident I don't know anything on this album. It's on chrome tape, though, which is kind of nice. In fact, a few of these were. I noticed a few of them were. And again, I'm hoping, it's nice to pick up some albums that I'm not familiar with, or maybe where I only know one or two tracks, and to get that kind of exposure. I think it's good for one's musical development. Case in point is this one, Rainbirds. I know nothing about this. Greg, I think, said he played it once. We were going to play this. We forgot to do it, Greg. Shoot. We were going to put this on because, yeah, Greg said he did put it on briefly. But yeah, I'm not familiar with them. Never heard of them. Never. Yeah, I think he said it was soft rock, maybe. I can't remember. Sorry. That might have been something else. Anyway, released in '87. This is also on chrome tape. Yeah, very cool. So I'm very interested to give that a try. Now we have another band that I've never listened to. I'm admitting it. Little Feat. Little Feat, Waiting for Columbus. I love the artwork, though. Look at that. That's awesome. It's like a tomato sitting on a hammock. I know I don't know any of the songs on here. I think maybe this was the album that Greg said was soft rock. Yeah, I think I might be getting it muddled up with Rainbirds. But maybe Rainbirds is soft rock too, I don't know. But yeah, that artwork's so cool. It really is. Next up, The Police, Every Breath You Take, the singles. Like a greatest hits, kind of. It's got all the good stuff on it. Roxanne, Message in a Bottle, Walking on the Moon, Don't Stand So Close to Me, the one that I never try to pronounce, that D-do-do-do-D-da-da. Jeez. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic, Invisible Sun, Spirits in the Material World, Every Breath You Take, King of Pain, and Wrapped Around Your Finger. This is also on chrome tape. Jeez, there's a lot of... that's good. It's really good. Next up, Eric Clapton, Timepieces, the best of. Yeah. This is from 82. At least that's the copyright on the tape. And it's got all this good stuff on I Shot the Sheriff, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Layla, Wonderful Tonight, Cocaine, Lay Down Sally. So, great stuff. Next up, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Yeah. Yeah, you know, it sort of keeps getting better and better. It's kind of ridiculous how wonderful these tapes are. But I do have this on CD. Do not have it on any other format. Yeah, awesome. You know, there are some artists that you don't leave, no matter what format it is, as long as the condition's okay. And Pink Floyd's one of them for me. Next up is a band that I have heard people talk about, and I have heard of, and I have never listened to. The Smithereens. Don't know anything about them. Gonna hold my hands up in a minute. I don't. I probably should. This is from '89. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of out of curiosity more than anything that I wanted this, because, you know, again, it's a good way to be exposed to new music. I can take it to work. I can listen to it. Okay, next up we have Talking Heads, Stop Making Sense. Yeah, this is another Talking Heads album. This has Once in a Lifetime on it, so it's worth it just for that, right? I mean, it's a great track, Once in a Lifetime. So, yeah. What can I say? Okay, we've gone through 2 out of the 5 piles so far. Stay with me. Next up we have, I didn't realize it actually when I picked it out, and that is a cassette single of Aerosmith, The Other Side. I don't know what I thought this was. I guess I thought it was an album. I don't know. Even though I had never heard of an album called The Other Side. Anyway, but it's kind of a long thing. It's almost like an EP more than anything else, because it has 3 versions of The Other Side, including a club mix, which I'm kind of fascinated to hear. It also has the theme from Wayne's World on it, and Mygar. So, I'm glad I picked it up still, because I'm intrigued by it. I am. I'm going to see what that's like. I want to know what that club mix is like, because that sounds kind of interesting. Next up we have Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I do have it on vinyl. It's one of the greatest albums of all time, as far as I'm concerned. And so I was not... I just couldn't leave it in the box. I couldn't. It's just a wonderful album. Continuing on, R.E.M., Murmur. I like R.E.M. I'm nowhere near as familiar with their earlier stuff. And I've passed this up before on CD, and I wished I got it, so I'm glad now that I have it on one format. I don't know too many songs. Okay, it has Radio Free Europe on it, so that is one at least that I know. And again, this is another cassette that's on chrome tape. Next up we have Spandau Ballet, the singles collection. Classic 80s new wave band. They got a little more poppy as they became more popular and more commercial, but it's just got all of their top hits on it. It does. Gold. Well, I'll read out the ones that I know. Gold, Lifeline, Only When You Leave, True. Everybody knows that one. Communication, I'll Fly For You. Okay, to cut a long story short, chart number 1. I don't think I know the last 3, but yeah, it's great stuff. I do have the True album on vinyl, but I did not have anything on cassette. So yeah. Next up we have, and this is going to be the third format. I have this on too. Paul Simon, Graceland. Love this album. I'm a big Paul Simon fan. Big Simon and Garfunkel fan. I have the vinyl. I have it on CD as well, but it's not been left there. It's not that album. Love that album. Steely Dan, Asia. Yeah. Have it on vinyl. No, did not have it on any other format. And again, it's sort of one of those things. I'm actually curious to listen to the quality of the recording, because the vinyl is notorious in a good way for how great it sounds, for the high quality of the production. And actually Steely Dan in general were known for that. So it's not just Asia, it's most of their albums are known for their high production values. But I'm curious to see if that translates to cassette. If this was mastered any differently for tape, probably not. But I'm going to be curious to find out. And again, this is a wonderful album. Yeah, I mean, Deacon Blues is an amazing song. I like Peg. Yeah, again, gotta have it. It's a great album. Next up, we have an album that I've never listened to, Sentimental Hygiene by Warren Zevon. I like Warren. I love Excitable Boy. That's a wonderful album. I do have one of his earlier albums, I think maybe his first album, on cassette. Do not have this on any other format, and so I'm very curious. This is one of his later albums. This is from 87, yeah. A little bit of a later album, so excited to have a listen to that. Next up we have George Michael, Faith. I do have this on vinyl, but it's such a great album. It is. I had to pick it up. I just had to. It's just great. Next up, Queen, The Miracle. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I do have this on vinyl, I admit, but I like Queen's latest stuff. It has Breakthrough on it, which is my favorite Queen songs. For some reason, it always has been. Even if objectively it's not one of their better tracks, I've always liked that song. I don't know. I like the stereo panic that it has at the beginning. I don't know. And it has I Want It All on here. The Miracle, the title track. And The Invisible Man, that's another great track. So, yeah, again, even though I have it on vinyl, I was like, no, it's got to stay home with me. It's got to. Okay, stack number 4 or 5. Here we go. R.E.M., Reckoning. Another early album of theirs. This is from 84. What was interesting about this was that, oh, look. Not only does it tell us that it's a chrome tape right there, it even says it's for audio files. Wait. Let the camera focus. Camera's not going to focus. Well, take my word for it that it says audio file right over here. There it is. Jeez, took it long enough. Audio file. Okay. The other interesting thing about this is that it actually came with this inside of it. It's a little sticker. And I guess at some point this was purchased on the 28th of February. I'm sorry, the 28th of July, 1984. It's been checked off right there. Excuse me. I should probably edit that cough out, but I'm not going to. Yeah, record bar. I don't know where the record bar was. I'll assume LA, but it may not have been. It could have been in a different state, for all I know. Yeah. I'm going to get a drink. Okay. Next up we have... Oh yeah, Workers' Playtime, Billy Bragg. Love the artwork on this. I've seen it before. I am not very familiar with Billy Bragg, being completely honest with you. I know he did a cover version of the Beatles with a little help from my friends in 1988, and I think, even though that isn't on here, this album came out in 88, I think. I think it's all around the same time. Yeah, 1988. So I'm going to be very interested to listen to this, and I like how it says... Maybe you guys can see that capitalism is killing music. Well, I don't know if don't think I would necessarily agree with that, but I like I like it when somebody can be opinionated like that. It doesn't matter if I agree with them necessarily; they have a right to their opinion. And yeah. Oh, that's interesting. For copyright reasons, this cassette is not for sale in South Africa. I wonder why that would be. There must be a song in here or something that he borrowed, maybe? I don't know, from a South African artist. Yeah, I'm going to have to read up on that. I'm going to have to do some research. Next up, oh yeah, The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle, Bruce Springsteen. I've never listened to this album. I know it's an iconic album. I've never heard it. That's why I selected it, because I know it's supposed to be a great album, at least an iconic one. Next up, hey, Traveling Wilburys, number 3. And I learned something about this too, which I didn't know. You guys might have seen that I did fairly recently pick up their first album on CD a couple of months ago from a thrift store. But Greg was saying that there was no number 2 because when Roy Orbison passed away, which was, what year? 1990 maybe? No, well, it was the early 90s. It was very early 90s. It was somewhere in that time frame. It was sort of out of respect for him that they skipped one number. I thought that was kind of nice. Next up, Ecstasy, Skylarking. Very excited to have a listen to this. James Griffiths recently talked about Ecstasy. I think it was James anyway. And so, I think it was. There was an album, I'm probably going to get this completely wrong. Oranges and Lemons, Lemons and Oranges or something, that he kind of wished he got, and he didn't. I think I'm going out on a bit of a limb here, because it might not have been James Griffiths and it might not have been Ecstasy. I think it was. I think so. Next up, we have The Human League, Dare. Classic 80s album. Of course, it has Don't You Want Me on it. It also has Love Action, Open Your Heart. So, yeah. Awesome. Next up, we have our second Pink Floyd album, a collection of great dance songs. I don't have this. I have a few Pink Floyd albums, several actually, on both vinyl and CD, and a few on cassette too. But this is not one of them. Don't have it. It's sort of a greatest hits album, Walk on the Wild Side, the best of Lou Reed. Yeah, awesome. Don't have anything by Lou Reed. I don't. I'm very excited to listen to this. I do know a few of the songs. I know Satellite of Love, Walk on the Wild Side, of course. Interestingly, it doesn't have Perfect Day on here, but that actually doesn't surprise me. It looks like this compilation came out in '77. Perfect Day was not really given the recognition it deserved at the time. It's a great track, but it really it's a little bit like the Beatles, A Day in the Life. That was just any old song. It was, and when Sgt. Pepper came out in '67, it wasn't. It was not revered like it is now. Time has been very kind to it, and I like it too. It's probably not in my top 5 favorite Beatles songs, but it would probably it would get close to being my top 10, But yeah, it's sort of like that with Perfect Day. That little same sort of situation. Next up, Billy Idol, Rebel Yell. Yeah, of course it's got the title track, Rebel Yell, on here, but it also has Eyes Without a Face. When my other friend was over here in the afternoon, we put this on because he was looking at the tapes that Greg had given me, and he was saying how much he liked Eyes Without a Face. So we put, and you know what? It sounded fantastic. I was kind of surprised because 1, it's a pre-recorded tape. 2, it's a pre-recorded tape that came out in 1983. So we're going back, 35 years. And 3, it's just on regular ferric tape. It's not on chroma or anything. Nothing special about it. It sounded really good. So I'm gonna have to listen to the rest of that. Okay, final stack. It's right here, and we're almost done. All right. Thank you for sticking with it. Rolling Stones, Undercover. Yeah, this is a later album. This is from the early 80s, is it? Pretty sure it's like 84 or something. 83. Undercover of the Night. I do know that song. Don't know if I know any of the others. Gonna be honest about it. But yeah, Rolling Stones, awesome. Next up is Bruce Springsteen. Greetings from Asbury Park. This is another very famous album cover that I've never listened to. I think, don't be afraid to admit it. If you haven't listened to something, I haven't. I'm not ashamed to admit I haven't. There's too much music out there, and only so much time. Especially now I have a kid. It's just difficult to put as much time into it. But what's this one? Oh, Aerosmith, self-titled. I think this is their first album, their debut album. It does have, what does it have on it? It has Dream On it, and it has Mama Kin. Don't know if I know the rest of the tracks, but it has those two on it. And both, well, Dream On in particular is an iconic Aerosmith song. Yeah. Next up is Led Zeppelin. The song remains the same, because that was actually like a soundtrack from a film. Don't have this on any format. I have a few Led Zeppelin albums on vinyl, but although none on CD actually. But yeah, I don't have this. It has Stairway to Heaven on it. So of course it's a film soundtrack, so it makes sense that it would have previously released tracks on it. But yeah, I had to have that, especially as I don't have it on any other format. Next up, an album that I see around from time to time, and I've never grabbed it. Probably should have done. Tom Petty, Down the Torpedoes. Yeah, I've even seen this in like a dollar section before. I didn't grab it, and I was like, I should have taken it. I think the condition was just okay, but I should have done. So let's see. Do I know any of these? I think Don't Do Me Like That. I think possibly I know that. Don't know if I know the others. Gonna be honest. Don't know if I do. Okay. Next up, we have Dirty Work by the Rolling Stones. This is another little bit of a later album. I think this is from the late 70s, isn't it? Oh, it's from 86? Is this really from 80? Jeez, I was way off. I really thought this was from like 79 or something. Okay. This is another one that's on chrome tape, though, so I'm excited to listen to how that sounds. Do I know any of the songs on here? Oh, One Hit to the Body. Okay, if I'd have read the track listing, I would have realized it wasn't the 70s. Harlem Shuffle. Okay. Oh, well, I know two of the tracks anyway. So, yeah. Awesome. All right, we're down to, there's three left, and these weren't in any order, by the way. Crowded House, Temple of Low Men. This is the one that has Don't Dream It's Over on it, I think. No, it's not. I thought it was. Why did I think that? Oh, you know what? Greg did have that album. He had the album that had Don't Dream It's Over on it. I didn't take it because I know for sure I had the single of that. So, yeah, I don't know if I know any of these songs then. So, again, this is going to be exciting to find out. This is from 88. Which actually is sort of, yeah, it's a pretty good period for them. This must have been the album that came after the one with Don't Dream It's Over on it, I think. Somebody can correct me. Two left. Billy Idol, self-titled. So that's the second Billy Idol cassette. And this one has, it has White Wedding on it and Hot in the City. So just those two alone. Oh, and Dancing with Myself. I think I know that one too. Yeah, awesome. 80s. And last but not least is, drum roll, The Cure. Boys Don't Cry. I almost left this. I didn't see it. It was like, I think it was at the bottom. I was like, oh, do you mind if I grab this one too? Because Greg, ever the gentleman, ever generous, said, oh, of course, And so, yeah, it has Boys Don't Cry. And I don't think I know maybe any of the other songs. Because I'll admit, I'm not a big Cure fan, but it's not so much that I dislike them. I just haven't been exposed to enough of their music. I mean, I know Lullaby, Close to Me, Close to You, one of the two. I know a few of their songs, but I don't know enough of their songs. So this is a good way to be exposed to them. I think this is like either French or Canadian pressing, because the copyright notice is definitely in French. And it says made in the EEC, European Economic Community. Yeah, this must be an early album, right? It's got a 1978 copyright on it. But yeah, really pleased to find this. And oh yeah, it's French. It says Paris on it in the bottom here. It's got a Paris address for Fiction Records. They must have been, I don't know if they were a subsidiary of Polydor or what, but yeah, awesome. The Cure, yeah. So Yeah, what? Oh, that's all the tapes, but Greg gave me one other thing. No, it's not like a Mission Impossible suitcase. It's actually for putting cassettes in. Yeah, so this is kind of, I might take this to work. It's probably a good thing that he gave me this because I'm kind of running out of room for tapes. So I may well, this probably holds, let's see, this could hold, let's count, 14 in each. So this can hold 42 tapes. And that's kind of a convenient number because I think, how many did we say that I took from Greg? 45, right? It was 9 times 5. So yeah, I can put like tapes in and take this to work and kind of rotate every now and then. I think that's kind of neat. Greg said he has quite a few of these. I don't know where maybe he probably finds them in thrift stores, I guess, because I don't tend to see them, but I don't tend to look either, to be honest. Not because I didn't want one. I'm very pleased with that. That's going to be cool to be able to put tapes in, but just, yeah, I just hadn't really thought to look before. I've looked for the drawers, like these deals over here, but I hadn't, I hadn't really looked for the cases. So, yeah, thank you so much, Greg. I mean, really, just you know, you know what? This is what I like about the vinyl community. In this case, I know it was cassettes, but it's to me the vinyl community really encompasses all formats of music. Doesn't matter if it's vinyl, CD, tape, mini disc, 8-track, whatever. And people are just so generous. They really are. So thank you, Greg. Just again, super generous of you, really. And I've said it a couple of times before, but not just the number of tapes that that you willingly parted with and let me have, but just the quality of them. I mean, Rolling Stones and Queen and the Traveling Wilburys and Springsteen and et cetera, et cetera. Just just amazing. So I think that's all I got. So thank you guys as always for watching. Appreciate all the comments and subscribers, and until next time, bye bye.